Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this upper receiver group that you guys see in my hand right here that you've probably seen on all the forums and that you may have seen in my first shots video. So this is the Geissele URG-I upper receiver group improved. This one here is the result of a solicitation from USASOC, United States Army Special Operations Command. Basically, they put out a request for an improved upper, and basically what they've been using, for the past, I think, 10 or 12 years now has been the Block 2 uppers, which those are good for sure, but they're heavy. They have some drawbacks in terms of modernize it with some of the things that are available today that weren't available 10 to 12 years ago when the Block 2 program came out. If you guys haven't seen my Block 2 video, check it out. Lots of info there, but basically this is a collaboration between Surefire, Daniel Defense, and Geissele to produce the upper receiver that you guys see here. This is the near clone. I should also point out they offer a stripped version of this with no bolt carrier group and charging handle and no muzzle device, and then they offer a clone version, which we'll get into a little bit later on as well, some of the details of that, but this is the near clone that we're going to be talking about here today. But so far, we've got about 900 rounds through this upper receiver, grand total of 0 issues with it at all. It's fed everything we've put into it and asked for more. So what we're going to do today is go over the details of it, what makes this upper unique, why you may want it, why you may not want it, and that's pretty much be it.
Now we're going to test the accuracy of this upper receiver group. The lower that we have it on is a Aero Precision lower. It has the Geissele G2S trigger in there. Great 2-stage trigger. If you're ever on a budget and looking for an upgraded trigger, it's the one I was leaning to, but that's not what the video is about. The video is about the upper. So we'll get into that. We got 3 different loads for you. I've actually already did the accuracy portion of this video. I just forgot to hit record on my target cam last week because I'm a moron. So we're reshooting it. I know that this gun shoots pretty darn well, so we'll see if we can replicate that here today. The scope on there is the Vortex Razor 1-6. This is the Gen 2E, so the newest model. And sitting in a Geissele mount as well. That's the 193 mount, for those wondering. And probably not ideal for shooting small holes in paper. However, I know a lot of people believe that this scope right here has some possibility of being fielded along with this upper. That's yet to be determined. As of this video, both the SIG 1-6 and the US Optics 1-8 have been selected by the Army for different contracts. There's still some contracts out there, so this is still in the running, and we shall see. Anyway, first load up is going to be the Winchester 69 grain match ammo. It's got the Match King hollow point bullet tail round in there, and it is a 223 chambering. Target's downrange at 100 yards, if I didn't mention that already. And we're at CTK Precision Rest here. That's what we're using. In a super tactical sock filled with sand. All right. Next up is going to be the Federal Mark 262. So it's a 77 grain 5.56 open tip match round. Again, kind of a round that I think may possibly be fielded with this upper, sort of as a combo unit. So I wanted to test that out. We'll see how this one does. Well, that's really weird. Again, like I said, I shot these groups last week. Actually, both these 2 loads were used. This one that we're about to use, I didn't shoot last week, but The 262 shot really well last week. Not sure what's up with that, but it is what it is. We show them here. Next up is going to be light caliber 55 grain Gorilla Ammunition Sierra Blitz King bullet. So it's kind of a varmint round there. It's going to be humming out of this barrel, so let's see how it likes the light stuff. Let's go check them out. So the first load, of course, was that 69 grain Winchester stuff, and that is a good looking group right there. And we're right at just under an inch, so probably 7/8 of an inch center to center there on that group, so MOA for sure. And we had the 262 here. Again, like I said, I shot that exact same group out here about just over a week ago, and it shot MOA, and this one definitely ain't MOA, not even close. And it's not even like there's one that's off. They're, you know, pretty well dispersed, but we're just under 2 inches there, so 1 3/4 inches on that one. Then came down here with the 55 grain stuff, and that actually looks pretty decent as well. We're right at just over an inch, so about 1 1/8 inches there on that one. The wind, that's what I'll blame it on, but yeah, no, we got of course, MOA group, pretty close to MOA here. I don't know what the heck that was, but no doubt in my mind, after shooting 2 accuracy tests now, this rifle is an MOA capable rifle for sure.
We'll start out on the muzzle end here and sort of work our way back for some order to the video here. You guys can see that we do have a surefire 4-prong flash hider. These have never been available to the civilian market prior to this upper receiver, at least not that I know of. Some of them are out there. They all come from kind of gray market sources. They've been issued to folks in special operations military units for years now. They do a very good job in terms of hiding flash. They do have a little bit of a ring to it that you guys may have heard throughout the video. But I don't mind it at all, because really, if you just touched off a shot, that ring is probably the quietest thing around you. They, of course, also serve as a suppressor mount for any of the surefire quick attach cans, whether they be the SOCOMs, the RCs. Any of those will fit right on there just fine. These things alone, prior to these being available here from Geissele, the 4-prongs were probably running you anywhere from $200 to $300 in the gray market, simply because a lot of clone guys really wanted them, and there just wasn't a lot of them out there to be purchased. That 4-prong there is pinned and welded, so that way you don't have to worry about NFA laws when attaching it to this barrel. And the barrel itself is going to be a cold hammer forged chrome lined barrel from Daniel Defense. It has a mid-length gas system, and like I said, that 14.5 inch overall length. That's going to do a lot of things for you. Number one, it's going to make it shoot a little bit softer. It's going to give you less wear and tear on the parts that cycle throughout the operation, and of course the chrome lining is going to give you good corrosion resistance, and it's an A2 profile. Some folks might not like that. I kind of agree with you there. The A2, for those that don't know, has a 750 gas block here, and then continues out straight until the muzzle, and it's a little bit lighter weight here behind it. Now, the upper here is not that heavy. We'll show you the weight here in just a second, but the weight with the A2 is out there on the end really kind of is the worst place for it from a functional perspective. That said, that's what USASOC wanted, so that's what Geissele and Daniel Defense here produced for them. So government likes government profiles. I guess that's why they have it in the name. But one thing that is an improvement over past, of course, is that mid-length gas system. All the 14.5 inch, M4 uppers out there in the past have had the carbine length gas system. And that really just increases the pressure throughout cycling, the speed of cycling, all of those things which you don't want, and especially considering that this upper was designed to run with the M855A1 ammo. That stuff is hot. It's very, very hot, much more so than like a M855 or M193. And that additional pressure is mitigated somewhat back here in the action by that mid-length system. In terms of weight, we'll weigh the upper here. It's stripped down to everything as it comes, no accessories. And you guys can see there, it's right at 4.26 ounces, 4.27 ounces. And that's with a little bit of CLP in there as well. With the near clone upper, you are going to get the Geissele gas block on there. You guys can see that it is pinned in place. It also has the set screws that are dimpled, and they are marked accordingly. So that way, if they do move, you would be able to see it. This gas block here is the nitride version from Geissele, and that's their bomb-proof installation on there with the pin and the dimpling. It's really one of the more durable gas blocks out there on the planet. I've fired a couple AR-15 uppers until they literally broke on full auto, and the the gas block never moved an inch, so it's very, very high quality, and the way they install it is just top notch. Now, for those of you guys that are looking for the clone uppers, with that one you're going to get the Mark 12 gas block on there from Daniel Defense. In my opinion, from a functional standpoint, this is a better gas block, particularly when it's installed like this. That said, you know, the clone guys, the Mark 12 rather, is going to be the correct one for the clone correct. The Mark 16 handguard that you guys see here was designed specifically for this upper receiver. It's a 13.5 inch handguard, and you're not going to be able to buy it, at least as of right now, as a standalone product. There's some differences between it and the Mark 13 and the Mark 14, most notably being back here how it locks up with the upper receiver. So we have 2 tabs on each side that are preventing any type of rotation, both at the top here near the upper receiver, top of the upper receiver rather, and here on the bottom we have the traditional Geissele tabs with the set screws locking it in place. Those are Loctited down as well, so that way really there's just no way it can move laterally at all. And Geissele's barrel nut also prevents it from moving forward once it's installed. Now we'll let that sit right there, and then we'll also bring up the Mark 13 just so you guys can kind of get a side-by-side comparison with them. One thing to point out is that the screws here are actually different here on the Mark 16, and basically it's just a little bit thicker here in this dimension here around the barrel nut, just making it a little bit more secure. Also, if you take a look down the handguard here, you'll see that the Mark 13 has these extra cutouts here for lightning cuts, whereas the Mark 16 on top is M-lock all the way around 3/6 and 9 o'clock, as well as the offset position. So you get a little bit more mounting options here with the Mark 16, and it's also going to be a little bit more rigid. There isn't the 1913 rails out there on the front like there is with the Mark 13 here, but again, that was specified by USASOC, and I actually think that's a pretty good idea, because really the only thing you're going to need that 1913 rail for most guys is going to be mounting your PEC 15 or a laser designating system, and most guys are going to mount it on top anyway, so really don't see that being an issue, and in fact I kind of see it being a plus. The upper receiver is going to be made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. It has your M4 feed ramp cuts, of course. It's type 3 hard anodized as well. We do have a forward assist and shell deflector on there. For those of you guys who are getting the clone upper, or looking at it rather, you're going to get an actual Colt upper with it and a Colt bolt carrier group. We'll get into the bolt carrier group with this one here in just a second, but that is how the near clone comes. Speaking of the bolt carrier group, the one that comes with it is mil-spec in every way, at least that I know of anyway. It is going to have a Carpenter 158 bolt. It's HP and MP tested, meaning that they fire a proof round through it. Then they do magnetic particle inspecting to make sure that it is doesn't have any cracks or anything that you can't see with the naked eye, any damage to the material. And then the bolt here, bolt carrier rather, is full auto profile. You guys can see it does have the chrome lined interior portion, as well as the gas key. It has good staking on the gas key as well. If you look inside the bolt there, you guys are going to see that little orange O-ring and then the Colt 5-coil spring, and the rest of the parts are mil-spec. So all in all, it's a very good bolt carrier group. In my opinion, performance-wise, you're not sacrificing anything by not going with the Colt one. The charging handle that comes with the upper is going to be Geissele's Super Precision Airborne charging handle. Now, this is a regular Super Precision on top. This is the Airborne version, and this one is going to be the one that's unique to the URG-I. You guys can see doesn't have any logos or anything on there. It just has the part number, and then back here on the left tab there of the charging handle has the little Geissele automatics inscribed in there, and the regular ones are going to come with all this stuff on there, just like this Super Precision does, and that is one of the differences you get with the URG-I versus being able to purchase it off the shelf. The Airborne charging handle is my favorite of all of the charging handles out there on the market. It's tied with one other, I would say, but it's very, very good. And you guys can see there the difference between the Airborne here and the full size. It's just a little bit smaller, and as the name would indicate, it's designed for airborne operations, so it's going to give you a little bit more purchase area and ability to grab onto that charging handle should you need to run it to clear malfunctions or just to load the weapon, but it's not going to be so large that it's going to get snagged on anything. And for anybody who's ever done like an in-flight rig up for an airborne operation, you guys would know that things get snagged very quickly in those close quarters, and you do not want that in any way. So definitely like that charging handle for sure. We've covered a lot of details on this upper, a few that we didn't cover so far. Number one, it comes in very unique packaging, very mil-spec in terms of being packed in a piece of plastic that's sealed and covered in cosmoline. So when you get it in, just be prepared for that. You're gonna have to clean it off, or if not, when you go to the range, your hands are gonna be covered in cosmoline when you get back. It also comes with a Super 42 buffer spring, as well as the Geissele H1 buffer that they do offer as a standalone product that you guys can pick up without it, but it comes with it, at least with the near clone and I believe the clone as well. Let's talk about pricing. For the stripped upper receiver, I believe it's right around $979. For the near clone that we have here, it's $1,249. And then for the clone correct with the Colt upper, Colt bolt carrier group, and the Mark 12 gas block, it comes in, I think, at $14.99. So none of those upper receivers are expensive. So why would you want one? Well, a lot of guys are really into creating clone correct uppers and clone correct rifles, pistols, etc. I am not immune from that. I have several clone videos here on this channel, and this is going to kind of add to it, I suppose. But a lot of guys just kind of want what either what they carried and used in the military, or something that our soldiers, Marines, etc. are currently using. There's, of course, very valid reasons for that. Number one, generally speaking, the products are well vetted in terms of a system like this is. That would be the case here for this one. That said, could you go out there and assemble an upper with similar quality, similar specs for less? Absolutely, without question. You absolutely could. You could use a surefire 3-prong, you could use the same barrel, same gas block, like a Mark 13 or Mark 14 handguard, buy yourself a good bolt carrier group with the same specs, and you'd save some money for sure. But if you're somebody who's into having clone correct types of offerings, then that just wouldn't do it for you. So it really depends what you want. But if you want an upper receiver group that works really well, this is definitely one I would look at, that you don't have to think about, that you don't have to second guess. It's very good in that regard. It shoots accurately, as you guys saw, even using the 1:6 scope. Now let's talk about that for the clone junkies. As I'm recording this is October 2018. I believe the U.S. optics, or rather, excuse me, Night Force 1:8 has been approved. And a contract has been put out, and also the SIG 1:6 has also been purchased and agreed upon. The Vortex 1:6 Gen 2E, which I've been using throughout the review, has not officially been adopted by USASOC yet. It's still being tested, and one thing that's for sure is that those are already out there in the units. So you guys are probably going to see some of those on here. You're probably going to see some EOTechs, you're probably going to see some Ilcans, and you're probably going to see those two optics that I just mentioned as well, simply because, you know, units pick what they want. A lot of guys in special operations unit set up their gear rather for specific missions and specific deployments. So what's clone correct, you'll probably see all of those out there that I just mentioned. So there's a little bit of leeway there. If you guys aren't following it yet, there's like a 1,000,000-page thread over at ar15.com that I will link to wherever I can down below in the video description to kind of get all the details on these things. But there's a lot of good information on there for sure. But yeah, I know some reports that should address this, like Mike over on the Grand Thumb channel mentioned that it was overgassed. I've not seen that at all, and I've been running predominantly 5.56 M1A3 reloads from LAX ammo, and you know, 5.56 chambering, full power stuff. It's not, you know, A1, of course, because no civilians really have a high stockpile of that, but I didn't notice any overgassing at all in that regard. So if you guys have one, definitely comment down below if you've seen any of that, because I certainly haven't. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions about the upper that we didn't cover here in the video, anything like that, you can always post down below in the comment section. You can also post over at my Facebook page, as always. That's generally speaking the best way to get in touch with me. It's also a place where I post a lot of deals, including deals on these URGIs when they go on sale. My viewers there will know that they've picked them up for less than I quoted so far in the video. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thank you all for watching. I hope to see all of you in the next video.